All right, so Kim, first and foremost, for those who don't know, please tell us who you are and tell us the size of your business and the volume that you've done the last year.
Okay, I'm Kim Barton. I've been in the business for 35 years. And every year our goal is $1 million in GCI, 100 units, and 50 million in volume. And some years we hit that, and some years we don't.
But that's the focal point, the goal. So in that volume in the last year, how much of that would you say has been listed?
It's usually a minimum of 50% or more.
Yeah. And so as we go through and we have a mix of agents that are in the room and watching on Zoom. So we have some that are brand new, just starting and have never worked with a buyer or a seller for that matter. And then we have some that have been experienced for years and done tremendous amounts of business. Not easily. So the question I have for you on this is, and we talked about it a little bit before, do you remember your very first listing?
I do. I remember my first listing, yes.
What happened in that process? How did you acquire that client and walk through the process? What did you learn?
So I acquired the client by sitting, so back in the olden days, you used to sit at the desk, like wait for the phone to ring, but you had to pick up with your hand. It was attached to the wall. And so that was lead gen, if you were back then, was you sat and waited for people to call you instead of calling them, because I was young and dumb and didn't know there was another way. And so I was at the Howard County Fair, and our office had a booth and you could work certain times. And so I picked an hour or two, whatever, and I sat and waited more for people to come to me instead of going to people. And this lovely couple came by, filled out the card or whatever. I ended up having a conversation with them. So hundreds of people came that day, and there was one family that I connected with. And they actually called me. And so I went and met with them. I was really young and knew nothing, and I think they paid me, honestly. I remember bringing my first child with me on the appointment.
Oh, wow.
He was a baby in a little teeny car seat. And they loved that, and they propped him up in a little high chair while we were signing papers at the kitchen table.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So we fumbled our way through.
And that actually, and that house never sold.
Oh.
It didn't sell. Listen, it was on for, well, okay, so back in the olden days, it used to take a year to sell a house.
Yeah.
A year, like not because I wasn't good at it. Like you would sit at a listing appointment, they'd say, how long is it gonna take to sell this house? And you say, probably about a year. Like, okay. Like nobody was like, what do you mean? Not in a week? Yeah, a year. Like you really had to work for it. So it didn't sell. They ended up renting it, but I did sell them a house,
Nice.
the house that they moved to. But that house did not ever sell. I think they still own it. I think it's still.
Still never sold that house.
I still never sold that house. Just, yes.
Okay, so, well, that's actually interesting. So we start off our very first listing that we get. It starts off with the quote unquote failure of not selling the house to this day.
Yep.
Then how did you go get the next listing after that? I mean, we didn't have great success. So what prompts you to go get that next one?
What prompted me?
No, I mean, obviously, money, but
I was poor. Young, dumb, and no money. Yeah, I needed money. I didn't have, I mean, this was my job. You don't get paid if you don't make it work, right?
Right.
So, I remember my old office manager, I was like, you're gonna kill me. I bought a new car. She's like, I love that. She's like, you have to make car payments. She's like, this works great for me. You're just gonna work harder. Yeah, so I didn't have a choice. That's what prompted me. And it was survival.
so one thing that we go through is we all put up the walls and we get scared of going through because we failed the first time. So what actions did you take to get that very next one?
So for a long time, I still did the sit the desk thing. Probably my first biggest listing came from somebody that, so I answered the phone. I don't even think it was my turn to take a call. It was someone else's turn to take a call, and these people wanted a rental. And they're like, you can have it, Kim. And I was like, all right. And then in the conversation, it turned into, well, they are just gonna rent now. It was a mother-in-law calling for her daughter-in-law and son to purchase a home and then we had to sell the home they lived in. And so it all sounded fake, right? Like, it was all just like, yeah, right, this is gonna happen, and they wanted new construction, it was like $1 million, whatever. But I was just like, okay, I just kept taking what came. Like, I think that was the persistence, is show up, take it, work it through until it was sure that it was not a thing anymore. And so those people didn't end up buying new construction, and it was $1 million, and I was like,
I can make my car payment, yes.
but then we could go into what was my split back then, and there was nothing like that.
So, all right,
It
we're
wasn't
walking
much
through the stage of progression, right? So now we've got in, we have necessity being the reason that we're continuing to grind and make our car payments and just close houses. But now we get to the point of, when did you become consistent within your real estate business and consistent with listings?
So honestly, that was when I joined KW. And that's not I'm not saying that but it's true. So you create systems over time that you don't realize you have. Like, if you pay attention to what you do every day, like, do you realize, like, every morning when you get up and you get in the shower, like, we all have our routine. Whether you wash your hair first or you wash your body first, whatever, like, there's routines to everything that you do. And I don't think I understood that I had those routines until I came to KW, and all I heard was systems. And so I would take classes and look at other people's systems, and I was like, well, I do that. I kind of do that. So I think awareness of, like, what's necessary, creating a system around it, database. When I came to KW, they're like, oh, we'll get your database in for you. And I was like, my what? I was like, you mean my email? And literally everything was an email and not organized in any way. So I think database is the key to a good listing business.
I agree. So there's a lot to unpack even in that, right? So a lot of us believe in at KW, yes, we have the models, we have the systems, we have the tools that we use consistently over and over and over again. But to your point, you had a successful real estate business before all of those things started to be fine-tuned and modeled, right?
Yeah.
So you can make it. We can be wild, crazy, just live everything off of email and go through. What was it about you that you were able to win the listings, or what was in your conversations? What was your path? What was your flow to build the trust for people to say that, yes, I want you to be the person to represent me as I sell my house?
So I think you have to show up at the listing caring more about the person and their needs in front of you than you winning the listing. And then you're genuine and integrity is there. So I think that's the key to it. If you're going in the door and, like, looking at the numbers of what you're gonna make and how are you gonna win this, I think that's the wrong mindset. I think you have to start out caring about people. And I think if you care enough about the person in front of you, and you also believe that, like, there are enough of us that the other thing I love about KW, not to, but is that there's enough business for all of us, right? It's okay to share ideas. It's okay to, like, just care about the person, and you may not get the listing. But I've had listings I didn't get first time out where I became the second listing agent because it didn't work out. They chose wrong. Or they chose someone else and then they used me to resell it later because of a relationship that was created. So I think the relationship has to be forefront. And I think if you genuinely show up for people, care about people, come from contribution, the rest works itself out. I mean, obviously you need to be knowledgeable, you need to know how to price it and all that, but I think it's caring for the person in front of you first.
It's genuine. And I can say one thing about you is you truly have a huge heart. You care about everybody that you come in contact with. I see how you work with your team. I see how you handle your clients, and you truly do care, and that comes across. So if that is the key metric that you use, it shows.
Today.
I know. You guys don't understand. There have been days that we've had to go off into a side room and have all the tears flow. I want to walk through the process of, now that you have a database, how are you marketing out to your clients to, one, stay top of mind, but then get to the point where, hey, they're calling you to have a listing, and then we're going to walk through every stage that you go through. So what are you using to stay top of mind and market to your clients right now?
So first of all, I think when you look at your database, yes, you need to market to your database, but you also need to be in relationship with your database. So a great thing about Command is what we use is it gives you like a health score. And you only need like 5 things about a person to have 100% health score. And if you don't know those 5 things about the person, you probably don't know the person. So one of the first things I learned when creating a database was that I don't really ever ask people what they do. Not because I don't care about what they do, but I had this like limiting belief that if I knew you for X number of months and I didn't remember what you did, that was rude to ask. And so I had to like get over that because I did care deeply about the people and their lives. So I like knew their kids' names and I knew, you know, all their whole story. But if I hadn't somewhere along the way found out what they did, I felt like that was like rude to ask. So I got over it that it's not rude. It's just another way to show that you care. So being in relationship with the database, I learned that from a bold coach, that line, Regina.
Yep.
She's amazing. And it means to be in relationship with each person in it. So being in relationship with the database is being in relationship with the people. So our events that we have and our touches surround caring for our clients. So we have a 12 touch plan where even if I don't ever actually lead gen, we do touch everybody 12. So we do the birthday cards for everyone. So we try to, as soon as we meet people, we ask them right away, when is their birthday? Sometimes people are like, why? Like, because I want to send you a card. Okay. So house anniversary, if we've ever sold them a house, then we every year, once a year. So that's 2 like automatic touches for most everyone. We do a shred event around tax season. So people can come and shred their old papers, and yes, believe it or not, people do still have those, and you can get them out of their attic now. When you go to list their house, it'll be one step closer to clean. Strategy. We give out, we don't give out, but we sell Hershey Park tickets that benefits a church. So the sale of them benefits our church, Hunt Valley Church. So we give all of our clients a really, really deep discount on Hershey Park tickets. Help me, team. What else do we do? Oh, pie party, right? Got a pie party, Christmas card. We do a lot in the fall. We go onto a pumpkin auction. We put pumpkins. We have a neighborhood that we farm, and we put pumpkins on everyone's porch. We drop off mums to all of our past clients, and all of our current people that we're working with. So we keep top of mind by dropping off things, and then we try to call everybody personally if we're not already like having lunch or doing something with them once a year.
So you guys gave me kind of a cheat sheet on some of the things you do each month. There are 2 months that stick out to me, June and July. You guys have a very interesting thing that you do for your clients during June and July. Why?
Yeah.
So what do you do during June and July?
We leave them alone. Not to say we wouldn't like have lunch or do something like that. We just find that like you also, like, we want to live a life by design and we want them to live a life by design. So we don't over market. Like, I want to stay top of mind, but I don't want you deactivating or deleting me. So we literally, summer is family time in my book. And if I want family time, then maybe they do too. So we leave them alone.
Nice. What I find interesting kind of listening to you and going through, I mean, even the Hershey Park tickets that you're going through, you're selling them on behalf of the church. So a lot of the things that you do, you found a way to minimize some of the expenses that you have, which for those of us who are just starting off, might not have a big budget, just to write a thank you card, a happy birthday card for the holidays, something very simple and easy that even you have a larger team, you have an expense budget, but you're still finding ways to do things without having an expense, which I think is amazing. And I think we start to think that we need to spend more and more money, but in reality, we just need to be in relationship and do the simple things to go forward.
Right, like we have a teacher happy hour that we do. And that is like an easy, like it's simple, like it's, my husband makes chili. And a couple of vendors will bring like dessert or whatever, and it's like, and we make a drink and we just invite everybody to hang out. Like,
Yeah.
it's simple, like on the lowest of budgets, so you can do that. And we do it typically here in the office, so the space is free. So, yeah, we try to work on a low budget.
Which is perfect. I mean, as we look through a shifting market, controlling expenses matters. So on the business side of things, I love how you do that. So now you've maintained a relationship you're going through. A client reaches out and says, Kim, I think I'm going to sell my house. What is your process that you go through that?
First you say yes. What time? I think another big bold thing is they start asking you a bunch of questions. The answer is always like, I don't know, I haven't seen your house yet, right? Like, get yourself in the door. Like, whatever needs to be answered, it's gonna be answered better, more genuinely, and they're gonna care more about your answer face to face. So get face to face as soon as you can. So usually the first thing I do is, that's great. When, when can I come by? I don't get into how many bedrooms and I mean, but I get the address, right? So that I can come by. But I think your first thing is, whether it's a new client or old client, is, get the address, get it on the calendar and get there as soon as possible.
Okay, so brand new client, you get the address, you're going out and you set the appointment for in 2 days, you're gonna go out.
Yep.
What do you do to prep before you go out to the listing appointment?
Look at what's happening in the neighborhood, even if I already think I know the neighborhood.
When you say look at what's going on, what are you specifically looking for?
So I'm looking at, so first I go back 2 years. And I say, what is everything that is sold in the neighborhood? And I write down, okay, everything in, like I just did this the other day, a house in Lutherville. In your neighborhood, houses are selling between 320 and $1 million plus.
Okay.
That's true. That's what it says, right? So if you show up and you're like, oh, everybody in your neighborhood sells for 500, that's not true. Like, the truth is, over the course of the last 2 years, houses had sold from 320 to $1 million plus. And then I look at, okay, what about houses there, like square footages, right? I scooch you back in. And then I go even, so then I'm like, okay, so then that brought me to, I think it was like 346 to like 600 or something. And then I was like, okay, ranchers that are 3 bedrooms with 2.5 baths in the last year, what did they sell for? And then you're scooching it in further, and I ended up at like I think it was 464 to 570. And then the lowest one is typically not their house. It's the one that's falling down. And then the highest one is typically not their house, because it's the bigger lot with the more bedrooms and the blah, whatever. And then you're like, so now you've already created a range in your own head, but also for them. And so if you're presenting that to them, like, here's where you are. So I have an idea. And then I always ask them, do they have an idea of price? Because you need to know, are you showing up giving them good news? Or are you giving them bad news?
Yeah.
So if they say, oh, I think it's worth $1 million, you're like, okay, I don't want the listing. It's really worth 550. I'll be the second agent. So I want to remind myself, as much as I already knew some of those things, I want to have an actual number of what was the lowest. Like, I could say around 500, but that sounds like anybody could say that. I want to be very specific. It was 464 and it was 570. And we're looking between that space. We're not looking about anything. We're not talking about anything else.
Okay, so now you've researched the neighborhood, you have it narrowed down to a price point that you have in your mind. Is there anything else that you're gathering before you go to the presentation?
Has it recently been listed with anyone else? When was the last time that it was sold? So I know how much equity they have in it, like, so kind of looking into their specific home, like, does it have, have they refinanced 10 times in the last year? So that you can it helps you determine questions that you're gonna ask. Like, what might their situation be? If they refinance like every year for the last 10 years, they might have some financial thing that you want them to disclose so that you can help them best.
So now you go out to the house, you're sitting down. You mentioned to me, just kind of pre-conversation, that you like to interview them as much as they're interviewing you. So you walk into the house, how does that conversation start, and what is the interview process that you go through?
So, first thing you do is you knock on the door, you step back and you smile. It's like this weird mind shift. Like, so that's Zig Ziglar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, learned that long time ago. And it's true, because it puts you in the mindset of like, okay, I've done this a million times. I'm fine. I'm happy. I'm here. And then you're smiling when they answer the door. And then, you compliment, whether it's in some houses, it's hard to find that compliment, right? Like, you walk in and you're like, what is it that stands out? That's like something we're going to be able to say is great. Because not every house has everything great, right? So the other day, the listing I was at, it was the front porch. Like, when I'm standing there waiting for her to answer the door, like, flowers were everywhere. And inside, I know it's chaos because she's downsizing. She's lived there for like 50 years. So I already know she's working with like an organizer or whatever. So I know when I walk in, there's not gonna be any pretty. Even if there's pretty underneath the piles, there's piles everywhere. So I was just like, what a beautiful front porch. And it's gotta be genuine, right? Like, you're looking for something you can be honest about, to share, to like also ease them. Like, they're like, hey, she doesn't want to sell. She wants to live there forever. She's going to a retirement community. So.
Okay. So we've given the compliment, Now we're sitting down, whether it's the living room, kitchen table, what do you choose? And then what conversation do you start in that moment?
So I think a question that we always forget to ask, because we're busy talking about ourselves, is what's important to you? Like, what's important to you? What's your timeline? So sometimes I literally start out with like, tell me what you have going on. Like, what's going on? Like, clearly you're moving, like, what's happening? And let them tell you what they want to share before I'm busy telling them what I want to tell them. So I think it's being a good listener. You're gonna learn a lot by asking them questions, and I do like to walk the house with them and get their perspective. I think a walk through the house with the client is, they're gonna show you what they think is important. You know, is it? We put up new curtains. You're like, oh, let me write that down. Like, and you do wanna write it down, right? Cause it matters, but if that's the only like great thing they've done in the last 5 years, like, you know, don't tell them to take the curtains down. If they love their, so I don't know. I think it's just hearing them.
Okay, so
I'm
you,
listening for, who are they? What are their needs? How can I help? Can I help? Do I want to help? Are we a fit? You need to get fit.
and that goes into the next part where you said, hey, you go into that neighborhood house, you go for 500, but they want 1 million. It might not be the client for you. So at what point do you get into that pricing conversation? And if it is not matching, what conversation do you have?
So I've gone through in my career, different mindsets on the one-stop shop, like to come one time, get it all done, bring all the comps, do all the things. I really like a second visit. I really prefer to get to know them, have lots of conversation and not dig into price. So I prepared in advance. They always ask, well, what do you know the area, Kim, what do you think the price is? And I say to them, I do have an idea of price. And yes, I do know the area. I said, but I don't want to give you a price until I can prove it on paper. And I might come back and say, here's what paper says, and I can't prove where I think we're gonna land. But I want to be able to prove it to you on paper. Do you have an idea of what you want it to list for? Or what do you think it's worth? And then that's when you find out, am I gonna show up a second time and with disappointment, or are you gonna be so excited to hear what I have to say? So I do like to do the two-stop shop thing, unless they're like, come list it now, I want, it depends. I mean, you gotta work with what's, working for them. This lady, she's got a lot of time, a lot of cleaning out to do, and I know that I can come back a second time, so I did.
So, and let's say with that lady, she wants $300,000 more than what that home should go for. What restructuring conversation do you have with her to bring her back into reality? Or what conversation do you have to fire and say, this is not gonna be the right time for me, and then come back later if you can be the second or third agent?
So I say that I'm a person of integrity, and I believe that you're hiring me for that reason. And I think it's a lie to to overprice your home and let you believe that there's a number that you're gonna get that I don't think that we can get. So that you may be better off suited for someone else that can help you, but know that they probably can't get you that number either.
Right.
So I'm just honest with it. I had someone just a couple weeks ago let a friend realtor go because that person told her her house was gonna sell for $1 million, and there's no proof of that anywhere.
Mm.
And I just said, I said, I said, I'm so sure that that is not the case, that if you want me to list it anywhere in the 9s, I'm not your girl. I'm not your girl. But I'm here for I'm here for you afterwards. I'm like, and if I'm wrong, that's okay too. Like, if she's some kind of magic that I don't have, awesome, but I'm not gonna, I just think it's a lie. I don't think it's fair to the client. And I talk about the overpricing, right? Like, we know there's a sweet spot right here where we can prove on paper your house is worth this. And sometimes you can't find that exact sweet spot, but here's the sweet spot. If we can agree to this sweet spot on the paper and we overlist it, now we're playing the reduce game. And it's proven, Jen's back there shaking her head, it is proven fact that when you overprice, you end up below the sweet spot. So you are not doing them a service by and you're not doing yourself a service either, because guess what? Now you have a listing that didn't sell. So I'm the neighbor, do I wanna hire you? No.
But Kim, I think it's a hard for a lot of agents to pass up business when we have car payments to make and we
Yes.
need to grab that client. to have the confidence to go in and say, this is unrealistic because we want to get the business. We want the joy of saying, I have a new listing. So to tell a client that, hey, this is way overpriced, when did you get that confidence to have that realistic conversation to know this is the way that it should be? Because we all don't start out that way. We always try to take everything that we can. So
A lot of people in this room started out that way. Realtors are arrogant. We don't think we know best. So I don't think I'm joking. I don't think it's arrogance. I think it's desperation, right?
Yeah.
So when are you comfortable enough that to know that you like, it's actually wasting your time. So as agents, for you to take that overpriced listing, it's not helping your reputation. It's not helping your skills. I mean, you're gonna learn the hard way and hope, I guess, that way. But if you're wasting time with this, where you could be going and getting another one that's actually gonna sell. So I think it's just, when did that happen? I don't know. I don't know. It just does.
I mean, we're hard headed. We
Does-
bang our head
does-
against the wall over and over again until. Yeah.
I mean, and there's certain things no matter how many times you listen to someone else, you're gonna have to figure it out the hard way. And that's okay, right? I mean, KW, we fail forward.
That's what we go through and do, but that's also why we have a team to pick ourselves up. Speaking of teams, now you have a team and you are coaching your team and you're working with them and building out the systems. What is your training process with your team to help them, one, get acclimated into your system, but for them to also have the confidence to replicate you when you're not available?
So the thing that I believe that we do differently than everyone else is that we really, really encourage our agents to shadow. So be with me by my side all the time as much as you possibly can, because there are things that happen in the day. There's language. I think language is probably the most important thing in all of what we do as agents. You need to say it a certain way for a reason. And so over time, I think you figure out what that is for you. And there, you can take classes on it too, right? So I think that the most successful agents that I've ever had on my team are people that have spent so much time next to me that they sound like me, and that sounds arrogant, and I don't mean it that way, but they understand why it's important to say it a certain way. And so, like, for example, what we were just talking about, like explaining that exact thing to a client, like, here's the sweet spot. And here, if you go here, you're gonna end up there. And I don't want that for you, right? And so that's like says, I care about you. So A, it's the truth, and B, it's gonna help you and help them, so it's a win-win, and it says I care. And so how many ways can you, in a listing appointment, show them that you care about them? Like, I go through the whole contract with them. I sit down and there's all these different paragraphs where I say, other agents will tell you this, or other agents do this, and we don't do it that way because XYZ, because we care about you. It all says because we care about you. And so I think for us, it's the mentor piece. Like, I've been doing this for 35 years. I've learned lots of things. I've learned most of them the hard way. And so I don't want you to learn the hard way. So like, anybody's welcome to, whether you're on my team or not. If you want to spend a day in the car, come on, I always have an empty seat. And I mean that with my heart. Like, it's tough. And if you can learn from somebody else, like, I wish I had learned from someone else. I wish I'd started out on a team. I didn't. I was a single agent for 26 years before I grew a team. So I would have loved to have somebody else tell me how to do it.
I think that is an awesome slingshot to help propel your career to move forward. And as you've been building up the team and you've lent yourself to others to learn, to shadow, to mentor, it's been fabulous watching people grow who have been under you and going forward. I want to go back though to your process and what you worked through with the team. So now you've earned the listing, you've got it, it's closed. How do you turn that relationship into more business? What are you doing to cultivate that relationship still where it now can market for you?
So we're really, really high touch. I think the biggest compliment I get from clients is that they feel like I'm their only, they feel like they're the only client I have. And even though they know that's not true. So the more people that I've surrounded myself and my team with is so that we can continue to be there for their, like, every beck and call, basically. You have to have boundaries to your life. So I'm not, turn off your phone at whatever time you decide to turn off your phone, but set the expectation that that's when you turn off your phone. And just high touch. I mean, I figure out what their love language is. How do they like to communicate? Is it email? Some people only email. That's not my love language, but I got a team of people that email. If you text, you can text me all day long. If you want to call, I'll call you all day long. So it's, I think just, we try to be as high touch as possible. We don't just necessarily give them, you have to know the person you're working with. Are they somebody that you can give them, you know, a name of the cleaning company, and then they'll call the cleaning company themselves and they'll pay the cleaning company themselves? Or are they never gonna clean the house if I don't call the cleaning company and set it up for them and schedule it for them and get the receipt and give it to them and tell them to pay it? So yeah, so you know what I mean? Like, you're part of the process. Again, it's helping you. It's all gonna happen faster if your hands are in it sometimes. And then you have the clients that listen to every single thing and you don't ever have to do anything. Occasionally you have that house you walk into and it doesn't need to be cleaned or staged or anything moved, and they know the price their house is worth, right? So you just have to, you know who they are, what you're dealing with, and how do they need to be cared for, and then do it. Do what you say. If you can do more, great. Don't promise more, but do what you say you're gonna do.
Which is key, which
Yep.
is absolutely key. So now you've had all the touches in the world, you've managed, you maintained, it's been a great transaction. And now it seems like you built a client for life.
Yes.
All right. So in that relationship, you go through, you have your touches, your anniversaries, each month they're getting something. Every client is getting invited out to the happy hours, or do you select who you're inviting where, or what you're doing for each one of the previous clients?
So we don't have a VIP program. And I'll tell you why. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I saw somebody once post what they were on social media, what they were gonna give to their VIP clients. And I just thought that sounded like, you don't care about me, you only care about your VIP. Who are they and how do you get there, right? Which could be a great marketing strategy for someone where people wanna be your VIP. I've seen that successful. I have a lot of friend agents that works for. For me, we just invite mostly everybody, I mean, everybody down the thing, and then see who shows up.
And now, because you have a great business, you have a lot of clients who refer, who have been past clients, and they come back to you. If I'm on the other side and I don't have a big sphere, my database is cocktail napkins from when I'm going out to the bar. What is your strategy, or what strategy would you give them? Or better yet, let's ask it this way. If you had to start over again today and you had to secure 3 listings, what strategy would you go through and why?
I would join a team. I'm not saying that because I want to hire agents, but I do. FYI. I would join a team. I would learn from somebody that had walked before me. And I would take all the crap they're willing to give, right? Like, let me do whatever you consider the lesser business. I'll take whatever you want. I'll follow you everywhere. I'll do all the things. And I think when you're in the business shows up, and we see that on our team all the time. Like, the people that follow what we're telling them to do and they keep consistently in the business, the pipeline shows up and it keeps getting built. So I think you have to be in the business to be in the business. And so whether that's being in someone else's business, hold open houses for other people, you don't need your own listing to hold an open house. I mean, plenty of us in the office would love for you to hold our open houses. And because you learn being in front of, you have to be in front of clients, whether you're hearing someone else be in front of a client or getting yourself in front of, like, where can you get in the business in front of people? So open houses are, I think, are a really good place to start. And I have done a lot of open houses in my life. Yeah, I learned that too. Yeah.
I agree. I think it's a phrase that we use in the office a lot of times. If you want to be, or if you want to do real estate, you need to be in a place where real estate is being done. So be in the office, have the conversations, be connected with agents who are having those conversations, show up, shadow, and you will get a crash course of information faster than anybody else who's just chat GPT along. So
Yeah, I don't know anyone in this office that has a team that wouldn't let just pretty much anyone come. Get to know them, shadow them. I mean, you guys are very, right? Like, I think anybody would.
So, a couple of just quick fun questions, and we'll open it up for questions.
Fun
Before we,
questions.
yeah. All right, so what was your favorite listing in?
My favorite listing? I don't know if I have a favorite listing. I love. Are you talking about the house itself or the people? I don't know, that's tricky. What is my favorite listing? Well, I will tell you, well, I can't say that. Have I ever done a flip? Yes, that was not my favorite listing.
Oh.
It's not my favorite process. I don't really think I have a favorite listing. I think my favorite listings are ones that turn into, like you said, friends for life. Like, it's not about the house, it's about the people. I mean, some houses are prettier than others, they're funner to market or whatever, but I think I probably more enjoy something that looks hard
Yeah,
than like the easy, whatever is easy.
the challenge
Right?
to go through.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't think there's-
Well, let's open it up for a minute because I want to give everybody a chance to get questions in or ask. So for those who are watching via Zoom, the chat is open for feel free to throw it in. But those in the room, questions that we have.
So not a question yet, we're probably putting them in there, but I did want to point out that, David, one of the agents, said, when you were talking about, your approach and everything with your clients, he was like, that's exactly the same structure and reasoning I used with my clients back in Spain.
Oh,
Agent there and
Awesome.
so
see, it works everywhere.
it works everywhere, exactly. All right, don't be shy, ask your questions, Q&A time. Right, no time.
I haven't heard the word lead gen. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe like your journey and how because it sounds like you didn't necessarily start off dynamically generating leads, sort of what that process was like and how you use your team to really amplify.
Okay, so Doug asked about lead gen. So first of all, I think as an agent, you should always be lead genning, like every day, all the time, wherever you are, you're always looking for the next person you can help. So that actively is like who I am in my soul. I mean, really how my business grew is because I'm a natural keep in touch person. So even though it was a mess and it was all an email, like I never, every time I went through a transaction with someone, I wanted them to be my friend. So like that was just came naturally for me, so that was easy. But then to actually sit down and lead gen, we do have it on my calendar in blocks twice a week. And then any open space becomes lead gen time. And we have changed it a million different ways over time, what works, what doesn't work, but just having a system around how do you touch? So everyone's getting all the touches we talked about, right? So I know that all my clients are getting touched one way or the other throughout the year, but I'm looking for that direct moment with them at least once a year. And then we're also constantly looking for who needs us right now. So where are the motivated people and what's happening in people's lives that might lend them to being the next person that's gonna be the next listing. So if you're keeping in touch with your database in a systematic way, for us, it's trying to get that phone call. So we have a CRM that, you know, we track, we tag people, past clients and those types of things. So we have a system where we cherry pick. If you're this type of client that did this with us, this is how many times you get, like a smart plan for each person. And then every time we talk to a client or touch a client, we decide how are we touching them again. So that could just be like, I ran into you at the mall and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to Doug in years. Like, crap, he's that past client I touched all the other ways, but didn't have that phone call with. So now I'm creating a when am I doing it again? So just as, even if you don't have a system, just every time you talk to somebody, throw them on your calendar for when you can talk to them next, until you can create like a more of a system around it.
I have a follow-up to the lead gen question that he asked. So when we talk about a database, we have the people who are already there, we're managing, we're maintaining, and you've done an excellent job of talking about how you touch them. But how are you feeding that database? How are you going out and grabbing new people to add into it?
So we get new people, so my business is primarily repeat and referral business. We have over the last couple of years seen a lot of website leads coming because we built a website a long time ago and it's crashed and burned. I don't think we're on the 4th or 5th one now. So the platforms keep disappearing. So we're like, Alexis, make it. So if it's a stranger coming in, I mean, really, it's mostly just doing a good job and they're coming from other people. They kind of come to us. But treating each person that comes to you as somebody that goes in your database, we do it if if we've actually had a conversation with you. Like, I don't take a list from an open house and then feed it into my database. Not saying that's wrong, I'm just saying I don't do that. If you're somebody that came through an open house and we connected in some way, I'm gonna keep in touch with you until I feel like I know you well enough for you to go into the database. So it's just collecting people that.
I think it's the way that you build a relationship with them and your relationship then goes into it. So it may not be just taking it direct from the open house, but you cultivate that relationship and still goes in, so it goes in the same way.
So let me add to that though. So also there's places in life that people show up that can go in your database. Like I belong to a church. I'm in a Bible study. I'm in a women's group. I'm in, you know, like, so there's all these places where I'm doing the fun things I enjoy. I'm in a neighborhood. I'm a, you know, my kids, four kids grew up and went to 4 different, I don't know, 50 different schools, maybe between all of them by the time they were said and done. Right, so there's all of those people that are, if you have a relationship with them, they should be in your database because chances are they're gonna buy or sell a house at some point in their life or someone they know is. So those people also are people that we're marketing to. So they're people we know.
So great question in the chat box. Have you ever done server prospecting for listings around an open house from?
Yes. I personally don't do many open houses anymore, but our team sometimes does that. I highly recommend that. People that have done that, I've seen that be very successful and it was very successful for me at one point. So highly recommend that. Door knocking around. I would literally knock on the door and invite them to the open house. Actually, Noah, you did that. So Noah did an open house for a listing that I had and got a client from down the street. Because he circle prospect. So yeah, that is working.
And I will give you guys a shameless plug right now. With all the listings that you have, you said that you don't do open houses, but are you open to agents reaching out to do open houses on your property?
Absolutely. Yes, we want to hold an open house for every single house that we have for every single weekend that it makes sense to do that. And we do Saturdays and Sundays, and we're also open to it being during the week. We've done, I had a listing where I did do an open house, Noah and I did it together, on a main road. It was a neighborhood off a main road where kids drive from school. So we did the 3:30 to 5:30 or 3:30 to 5 or something, I don't know. When school got out and we had the signs out half hour before. So as all the people were going to drop off their kids and get their kids, they would come to the open house. So just be creative. Like open houses used to be just Sundays. That's not true anymore. It can be nighttime, it can be cocktails, it can be whatever you want it to be.
My group, they're either just taking all the information in or sitting there taking notes, like.
You delivered a lot. So for the agents who want to reach out to connect with you to possibly host an open house.
That's the chat box.
Yes, put their contact information in the chat box, but how can they reach out to you? Who should they reach out to? Just got to do the open house.
So they can just reach out to me directly, Kim@kimbarton.net. And then you'll probably hear from Dan. Dan Willard handles our open houses. Or Dan@kimbarton.net. Either way.
Tap and utilize the team. All right, so as we're wrapping up, if you had to give one tip to any agent out there, what would be the one tip that you would leave them?
Create a database if you don't have one, get in a relationship with it, and just keep on doing it. Like we just do the things and keep doing them until they work. And if you don't know how, ask somebody that's done it before.
Awesome. Well, if that's it, no other questions, I would like to thank everybody for coming out and just spending some time to hear about Kim, her fabulous business, and different ways that you can earn and just create a better listing business for yourself. Each and every Thursday, we have our session inside of our office. So we'd be happy to have you guys come back. And if there's any questions that you need, you can reach out to Kim or you can reach out to myself, Brandon@kwlimpact.com. We are happy to help and assist your business in any way possible and appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Kim, thank you.